And hello, I'm getting ready to run through the horizontal leaderboard plugin package here from CDSN, taking the traditional vertical NASCAR tower and changing it over to a horizontal version with a plugin. It kind of emulates the CW style broadcast. I saw a lot of people in the Discord looking for this, so took a swing at it. It's a little complicated and it's very finicky around positioning and things, but I think we've got it set up with both a 1080p and a 1440p version. So when you open up the zip file, you'll see it's called Luxurious Leaderboards, not just horizontal, because we've added some other options to the remote as well. But you're going to want to open, extract this on your computer just like usual. Go into your SDK, find the overlay section of settings, go to the plugin editor, come down to the bottom left, click import, find that file, bring it in here, make sure it's enabled here in this checkbox. Then just like usual, stay away from the coding tabs. You should need to edit those. There's a styling tab here. The new plugin system means you don't have to copy and paste this into your style overrides. You can edit them and run them from here. For the most part, you're not going to want to touch this. As I mentioned, this one's very finicky about positioning, but you're welcome to change colors and fonts and things like that. Then head over to the luxury leaderboards remote component. In the components tab, click add to remote, and that will add the new luxury leaderboards remote. Talking about the styling, this does rely on the fact that you're using the default positioning for the NASCAR 2025 tower. If you've done anything to move it, make it bigger or smaller, you're going to want to remove that and apply this to make sure everything lines up. For the most part, I think I've moved it over just a little bit to the left so it doesn't waste as much space there. I think I've made it a little bit wider as well. But you're going to want to start with a blank slate on positioning and scaling for that 2025 tower to make sure this all lines up. All right, so we've got it installed here. This is the luxury leaderboard remote, this purple section. And pretty much what I've done is taken all the different leaderboards, or most of the different leaderboards, and set them up here in two columns, top of screen and bottom of screen. Then there's some settings for the horizontal. So let's run through this. We're starting with the traditional one. That's perfect. Yellow flag just came out so that you can see the traditional animation. It comes through the leaderboard. This is everything you're used to. Like I said, it's just moved over a little bit so it's not centered in the screen, wasting space. Maybe it's a little wider. I don't remember. But that's what you're used to. If you start moving down the list of this left column, the top of screen options, there's a new short tower version. This adds the title bar to the short option, and it also moves the flag animation up into this section of the leaderboard so that if a yellow flag or green flag or whatever comes out while you're in this short box, the flag animation will still show with your animation logo and everything. Then if we move into the horizontal option, it's going to kick out from there, and these are smooth transitions for the most part. So you don't have to move down the list. You can go straight from full to horizontal. It should look relatively smooth. Once we're here, this is kind of the main product here. This is the top of the screen option with 5 columns. You can choose how many columns down here in the remote. So if you just want a top 5, just want a top 10, that is an option you can do to make space for your logos and other components. Typically I run 4 columns at the top to leave room for the logos, and then if I use the bottom option, I'll switch to 5 columns. The last 2 here in the top of screen options are just the old ticker, so that's still there if you want to switch to it a little more compact, as well as the F1 tower if you need to pull up some of the more detailed statistics that the NASCAR tower doesn't have. That's right there. You can very easily switch between all of these with this remote. Then starting with the bottom of the screen options, had someone in the Discord recently ask if you could flip the tower. So that's what this does. It flips the logo and race data and title to the bottom, keeps the series title at the top. It just gives you an alternate way to use that traditional vertical tower. And then when we get to the short options, There's an A and a B. The A keeps the title at the top. The B puts it back at the bottom. That's kind of just personal preference. Had some people ask for one, some people ask for the other. And then there's the same for the horizontal bottom of the screen option. There's one with the title at the top and one with the title at the bottom. If you don't want all these options, you can delete the buttons that don't apply to you and whatnot. And same thing, you can choose the number of columns to suit whatever you're doing. If it were me, and again, I haven't really gotten into using this at the bottom of the screen, I'd probably tie buttons together so that if I bring up the battle box or if I bring up the pit strategy, that the number of columns change from 5 to 3 to make space for those extra graphics, and all you would do is copy the button text in, just like you'd do any combination button in the future. There's 2 more options down at the bottom. The number of static columns. So the way this works right now, if we go to let's move it up to the top so we can see, I have it set with 2 static columns. That means that the top 5 and the top 10 columns will stay the same, and the other 3 will be scrolling through. You can change that. You could set this to 4, and then the top 20 will remain static. Only that 5th column will scroll through the extra drivers, kind of whatever fits your style or your league, or as you're changing the column numbers, maybe you want to change that. You could go to a top 10, only keep the top 5 static and let the other one scroll through. And then there's also a scroll time in seconds, so if whatever kind of suits you. 5 seconds seems pretty standard to me. 10 seconds might give it a little less fidgetness on your screen and all that, but that's pretty much it. This is meant to take a lot of the work out of it. And this uses a lot of dynamic style classes. So for example, if we open up and take a look at what's in this horizontal option B button, you'll see that there's a lot going on. So it's toggling between all of the tower and leaderboard options. It's also adding and removing a hodgepodge of style classes, and these are what's used to move the leaderboard around and make everything line up just right. So like I said, probably want to keep your hands out of the styling tab in the plugin, as this is not the most intuitive thing to do. And if you try to scale things, you might get misalignments between the short tower box and the horizontal components. And if you need to scale up to a different resolution, like I said, I made a 1440 version. If you need something else, we'll have to work on it together to make it work. But for the most part, I think this came out really nice. It has all the same data options of the traditional tower. So I've got my NASCAR 2025 tower right below it. If I hit last time, best time, car logos, or gain, those same 5 things are here. The short box still reacts to all the settings just like normal, the stages and the other things. But yeah, so you've got that there. If you're using last time, the fastest one out there will be green. If you're using best time, the fastest one is purple. So you can take a quick look at who has the fastest lap of the race and whatnot. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. Like I said, I think as long as you leave there you go, you can see the green flag just got applied in the short box animation. Otherwise, this is pretty straightforward as long as everything lines up and it's there for you. And I hope you guys enjoy it.